Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 game on the map Concealed Hill, and this is going to be a game from the backyard booty beatdowns sort of games. So this game had several observers and such, and it's going to be me random and my opponent Orc. I draw Undead, so we've got Undead versus Orc. And I start out with a ghoul opening, delayed altar just slightly so I can get the 5th acolyte. I've seen some pros like delay the 5th acolyte to get their altar started earlier, or sorry, the ziggurat to start earlier, and that will give you a faster hero at the cost of some gold. I guess that's probably, it is probably worth it, right? Because a lot of, especially if you get harassed or something, the creep timings you can go quicker. And experience and sort of items and also sort of ease of creeping tends to be pretty um, sort of very important, right? So we'll see if it really makes much of a difference here, but yeah, if you're gonna go like crypt altar and then a ziggurat, right? The gold is gonna delay your 5th acolyte, or like I said, it's gonna or you're gonna delay the ziggurat, right? Or you're gonna delay the crypt. You're gonna delay one of these buildings typically. So unfortunately, the way it goes for But anyways, this guy is going to be Omega. This is the first time I actually played him. I don't think I've actually played with him either, so I didn't really know what to expect, which is not always the best. Not always the best in terms of like going against somebody, right? What is it, some quote about Sun Tzu about knowing yourself, you'll win so many battles. Knowing your opponent, you'll win so many battles, like 50-50, and then maybe or something like that. And then knowing both you and your opponent, you should never need fear of any battles, right, or something like that. So, but anyways, Art of War quotes aside, this is gonna be a pretty solid game. Actually, the idea was I was gonna go Crypt Lord Ghoul Expo. I did expect him to go Farseer, and I did expect him to harass. So I actually went Impale first. Let me see if I can turn the W3 booster on so we can see the abilities. Um, just for precision's sake. Hope we can just open this in the middle of a replay and it'll start showing stuff, because if not, it's going to be unfortunate. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so, alright, so we've got this stuff displayed here. And yeah, I was like, okay, let me go expand. And I also forgot this is I get this map sort of silly enough. I frequently will confuse this map with, I think it's Last Refuge, where the expo is like much easier, but there's like a merc camp between the bases. That should be like, I should know that. And obviously, if I run over there, I'm gonna see it. But I thought it would be like going all in and sort of just waiting to catch me in the middle of creeping. So I played this a little bit cautiously, right? Um, and I think I creeped this first, which the timing, especially based on where he went, right? I never expected him to run all the way down here and do this green. It's not really a terrible idea, I guess, but I did have a sacrificial skull, and if I just go expand right there where he runs all the way over here, there's really not, I don't want to say that he can't stop it, right? But it seems like it'd be near impossible for him to actually get back over here and stop it, or to crack it. If he builds a demo, obviously he can sort of pressure the Nubian Tower. But once the Nubian Tower gets up, at least one, right, it becomes incredibly hard for him to actually knock that down, right? Uh, and especially if he's out of position, right? If he doesn't put any damage on like the ziggurat when it's going up, or the gold mine, or kill any units in the meantime, right? That window is going to be pretty good. I could have done a better impale, right? I should have, if I positioned myself here, I could have basically got everything, including the wolves, possibly his hero, right? If he's roaming around there. So I mess up here. If you're gonna, and honestly, going for this round was probably a foolish move anyway, right? Because he has a TP. So even if I do get this round, he is going to, he's going to be able to kill a bunch of ghouls and then TP and not lose his hero anyway. So I should have just been focusing the headers at the start instead of running around. So that was a bit of a wasted amount of wasted damage. And notice he is able to pick stuff off. Headers have a lot. They're like glass cannon type units, right? With the range, with how fast they are built and how cheap they are, right? They do cost lumber, so they are definitely more expensive than ghouls, right? But not in terms of gold, not by much. In terms of food cost, not by much. And also, in terms of build timing. If they are, I think they probably are like a couple of seconds more than ghouls in terms of how fast it takes to train them. I can't afford to lose this shop. So the shop positioning actually is quite bad here. I put it out here to sort of be sort of a wallish type building, but it is a really low hit point building. And oh, he didn't kill that acolyte, which is also fortunate for me. But it's not. It has 5 fortified armor, which is great. But the problem is, look at any other building. Basically, 600 health on a ziggurat, 1300 on a crypt, right? It's gonna be especially, I mean, really against anything, right? There's a Nubian tower here to sort of cover it, but I mean, it's definitely worth it for an orc to run by and just pop that if they get a chance. Now, there's some tree coverage, so it's awkward for the orc to run like through this gap, and so he doesn't really want to do that. He won't really do that, but he doesn't really need to do that anyway with ranged units, right? Plus, like I said, if he just runs in there, he can just go for the shop if the army's not there for free, and that prevents if I haven't gotten items, certain crucial items like an orb, timing could punish me. Not being able to buy Rod Necromancy or potions of healing or whatever, mana potions, heal scrolls, pretty big deal. But the other really big thing is they're required for statues, right? So if I don't have that, I can't build statues, which again could really mess my timing up, right? If I'm taking to tier 3 and I need to get the statues out, and then if I want to get the destroyer upgrade, I assume it's also required for that destroyer upgrade too. I'm not 100% on that though, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'm going to take this camp. He's going to take my shop, which is not so great. This is a pretty good chunk of experience and a pretty good consumable. Is that does he get a consumable there? I actually don't remember. I think it is a consumable, right? But Sentry Ward seems pretty small, pretty weak for that camp, but maybe he got something else there and just sold it. I don't know. But anyways, we'll see. See how it goes. When he creeps his, I'll try to pay attention to see. Um, and yeah, he's gonna just be creeping up, and it's really sort of the Farseer with Hadnar is super efficient to creep, right? You can sort of lure and kite creeps really well. The damage, he doesn't really need that many. He can tank with the spear wolves as he hits level 3, level 2 wolves. Not only do they tank a bunch, but they actually do quite a lot of damage as well. And the cooldown is fast, so if they get destroyed, he should be able to just resummon them generally pretty easily, right? So I creep basically the same camp he does on my side, and he's gonna do his little orange camp here. His levels are 3.5, nearly 3. I'm at 3.1, 2.2, so he is a little bit ahead in terms of experience. I did get a ziggurat up here, but the timing is. I'm like, do I want to expand? I sort of feel like the timing is a bit awkward to expand right now because um, I don't want to fall behind and let him like take all the creep camps, right? So I end up TPing here. The positioning again, he immediately was on the statue, and it got to like under half health even. So it's like I can't afford to lose a statue. The other big thing is my third hero isn't out. It was nearly out, and I don't have an orb, which again I'm gonna want to put on the lich. So I get these ghouls, collect them. I have over 400 lumber, which is pretty decent, right? I could leave one ghoul behind. I probably should just leave one behind. So one ghoul generally doesn't offer that much to the battle, but uh, three, four ghouls, actually do offer a decent amount of DPS. Obviously, if you want to do it in terms of numbers, 4 versus 1 is going to be 4 times as much DPS, right? Arguably. But anyways, he also does have AoE, so there is some question whether I even should bring the ghouls, but I think I really have to if I have this many ghouls, right? I got to bring some of them, right? Because they're taking up quite a lot of supply. And they're pretty good against, if they can get in sort of in range of the headhunters and not get stalled, right? They're pretty good. Plus, they'll provide some tanking, not a lot, right? But and then they'll have skeletons when they die, so I can summon beetles, maybe summon skeletons. I need to put like a beetle. I sort of stopped making beetles in order to prioritize Impale, which maybe isn't the best because he actually doesn't have that much dispel right now. And throughout the game, he's going to be spending most of his mana on Bloodlust. So, level 2 and 3 beetles actually probably would be quite strong. Not that level 2 and 3 Impale isn't really strong as well, but and yeah, if he has like one adept walker, I don't know if walkers are like a standard. I know a lot of people love to go bloodlust and stuff, but the AoE dispel and spirit link is pretty good, Right, I know some orcs I've seen just add like one Tauren into the mix. I don't know if I think they can generally stay under 50 and get like one Tauren. So it's like, does he want a Wind Rider or would he like a Tauren? Wind Rider's more damage. It sort of performs a similar function as the Headhunters, right? Sort of forces me to get web, arguably, but Tauren, depends on how much like magic damage I have. If I have like 2, 3 destroyers, that's pretty bad. But if I only have one destroyer, then it's not so much of an issue that he gets one Tauren, right? So yeah. Also, obviously, the Headhunters, or sorry, the Wind Riders have piercing damage, and they're quite mobile until they're webbed. But so in terms of vision going around trees and stuff, it's pretty cool. And the other thing is, if I have more destroyers, or even just one destroyer, which again to deal with the bloodlust is, I don't know if it's necessarily required, but definitely is useful if you can land some big devour magics. You can get rid of a whole bunch of lust, and also you can deal with the wolves almost instantly if you have like well, I think you probably need like 2 or 3 destroyers once the wolves get to level 3. But yeah, getting rid of those wolves as well instantly is also quite strong. Also, if he ever gets hexed, that's another thing. Also, if he has Spirit Link, uh, so yeah, but yeah, when he has those destroyers, or when I have destroyers in this case, the Wind Riders are going to do basically double damage to them. So he already has a bunch of piercing, right? But if he can just fly a Wind Rider, you know, and angle in and catch a couple of shots on the destroyer, you'll notice that the DPS is crazy because the light armor. I really, um, I would prefer obviously that destroyers have heavy armor. They'd probably be obnoxious if they did, perhaps, right? But man, when you're up against a million headhunters, it feels really annoying that like a level 1 unit basically it gets double damage. Um, they can be massing, headhunters, rifles, fiend, archers, all these units, right? You can be massing, and it's gonna do double damage, right? To light armor. So basically, I'm trying to think of the numbers. Outside of web, like basically maybe 70% of the things that can hit air units that have, that have light armor are going to be doing double damage to them. I kill get a web there. That was pretty fortunate to get that Wind Rider kill. Basically, this is a war of attrition. We are both on one base. Oof, that is painful, but it put me in no upkeep, actually. And, oh my gosh, I built something to get to 1 food over upkeep. Oh my gosh, that Acolyte. No, oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to kill this Acolyte. I do realize it. I think right about now, in fact, we'll see what happens. Is there a ghoul? I think ghoul is much more important because he's basically my only source of lumber right now. And I have plenty of sources of gold. So I kill this acolyte. This is going to really hurt, or it's going to really help my gold income versus his. And at the end of the game, we'll look and see the difference in the gold loss to upkeep. It's probably significant. Right, let's see. Does he use a tiny great hall? He does. I think he just expands slowly. Right, let me take a look at his resources. He's got 420. After building the Great Hall, he would be really close to actually just using a tiny Great Hall. Right, and that would be. Oh wait, am I looking at his gold or mine? Oh my goodness, I was looking at my gold actually. There, my bad. He's on the left. Yeah, you can see how haven't actually used this thing extensively, the overlay, but it's actually quite amazing. So props to W3 Booster and whoever's. There's a little w3booster.com. Really good. It's nice to be able to see all this stuff, and it's free. There's a free version and like a premium version that will show you stuff. I think when you're actually in game. Obviously, it's not. Well, I assume. Hopefully, it's not showing you like the opponent's information when you're in game. That would be definitely like a cheat, but. As it is. But anyways, we have an engagement here. I land a pretty good stomp. It feels a little easier to land impales than stomps, right? The range is much different. The mechanic is a little bit different here. I'm at 50. He's at 59, so he does have a food advantage. And I land. Should I use an A bomb? It seems natural to. It seems like A bombs would be strong, and I only had one A bomb, so like, well, you don't have mass A bombs. You just got one A bomb. But it seems like they would be a natural counter unit maybe to headhunters and now berserkers. The problem is sort of twofold. One is the cost, right? You're building a 4 food unit, so it's like for every headhunter, they can basically afford nearly 2 headhunters for that. Now, not quite. I think I want to say are they 240, 260? I forget the A bomb cost, which is kind of ridiculous, um, but yeah, it's probably a little bit more for 2 headhunters, right? But not too much, right? The lumber cost I think is probably it actually might be more lumber for a single A bomb than 2 headhunters, but but the food cost is the same, right? So, but yeah, he's sitting at 59 food. So this is not exactly an insignificant sort of food difference, right? But he either needs to, well, he is expanding behind it, so he's using this larger army to arguably contain me. There's not really much in the way of creeps left on the map. There's like a green camp outside of his base, which I'm actually going to end up creeping myself, and then that's about it as far as the map goes. Let me turn the oh wait, I need to turn the fog of war on. That's what it is. Um, that's a glitch. These camps are already corrupt, so I don't know what's the deal with that, but yeah, we can see that the creeps, everything but the screen, is already corrupt. So not too much he can do. If I'm just, it's not really as much of a problem if I just sit in my base right now. Now the problem is though, is I don't know if he's expanding. So this is what I got to keep an eye on. Well, any of the gold mines basically, but the most natural one and sort of hardest for me to get to right now would be this one, right? So and he is building that there. But if he builds towers instead, if he builds the towers first, and then he builds the expo, maybe even tiny great halls it, right? Um, that's going to be much harder for me to push and harass. Now, if he knows where my army is and he doesn't let me sneak something out to go harass this, right? Um, he could definitely, he maybe doesn't need the towers at that timing, but it's just way safer, right, to just build 3 towers, right? If I cancel the towers, it's not as much of a cost to him, I don't think. Now, if I cancel 3 of them, I think the cost is probably the same, um, but the timing window in terms of timing windows, that's in resource management. If 3 towers finish, and 3 towers build much faster than a great hall, right? Now a tiny great hall probably is going to build as fast as a tower. I don't know the numbers there, but it's much closer, of course, um, for more gold, of course. But anyways, if you build a slow built great hall, it's not going to be as much gold. But anyways, he's going to TP. I should have just dove I have a TP myself, don't I? Do I not? Oh yeah, I'm not gonna come in here without a TP. That would be a disaster. But yeah, I should have just dove into the burrows, right? I'm already here. Uh, I do save my TP by running, and I don't think he kills anything. But the other problem is I didn't actually go in Holy Aura here. I had a plan. Notice I got some Rings of Protection +3 and +4, a Greater Heal Potion, and Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. What I wanted to happen, and what I was thinking, if you look at the overlay here on the right, I picked Death Pact as my secondary skill. Even at level 4, I think, actually, at some point I retrained. But anyways, the idea was, okay, this is a strength hero with a big heal, an invul potion, and I put the Rings of Protection on him. He's the healer as well. I could have dropped his gauntlets of strength on there, but I was like, let me, I'll leave that one on the Crypt Lord just in case, he focuses the other hero, right? But the idea was I wanted him to focus the DK with all of his piercing and magic, severely reduce the damage, and then hit a big death pact on something, maybe a level 2 beetle, maybe, a fiend or something, whatever. Oh, I need to coil that. Yikes, that damage is legit, right? And I hit an impale to sort of cover my retreat. That's merely gonna be. I should have probably popped him with a Nova too if I could have. But notice he's like, this is the problem. He has level 2 Endurance Aura and Bloodlust, so his movement speed is gonna be incredible. Now I don't have Bloodlust, so he arguably, and level 2 Endurance Aura actually gives you slightly more move speed than level 2 in Holy Aura, um, especially level 1 in Holy Aura anyway. But um, annoyances aside, there he can run me down, if I'm not careful. So I'm definitely going to in terms of hitting and running, I am definitely going to be feeling that move speed difference there, and it makes me be very, very careful in the battles I engage, because if I engage a battle that's even slightly to his advantage, I can get massively punished because I can't exactly run away from it easier. Now, the one good thing is he doesn't really take advantage of raiders this game. I'm not sure actually he built any. I thought he built one and I killed it, but he knows he's running around with no raiders. If he just has one raider for ensnare, every time that raider gets in range, he can basically ensnare whatever he wants. And if it's a unit, it's almost gonna be a guaranteed kill, whether it's a statue, a fiend, whatever. Ensnare and all that DPS, it's just crazy, right? He's using all of his or most of his mana. He's got a really, he should probably put these, even though his CC is getting in there and attacking. Generally, you want the damage, the claws type items in like gloves. Outside of a blade master, that's an exception, I guess. But a lot of times you're going to want to put the claws on like a ranged hero because it doesn't have to be in the middle of the action getting focused as much, arguably. So you'll see like archmages and stuff like that. Now, if there's like a hero with critical strike or cleave or something like that, or drunken brawler or whatever, then or it's an agility hero, maybe that is prioritized a little more because of faster attack speed, right? But yeah, but anyways, he's gonna sit here. He's got this expo running now, which is terrible. He's got 600 gold, plenty of lumber. He could drop some towers here, and he's at 68 food. Now I'm gonna bust up to 54 food. I did something very weird, which is actually quite a big mistake, right? And the reason it's a mistake is I misjudged how much gold was left in my gold. It's probably just a mistake anyway, right? But if I have another like 1500 gold, I think this sort of weird tech switch. I noticed he didn't have any Spirit Walkers, right? Which is AoE Dispel that he would really need to deal with if I managed to just sit there with like, sit there and build up an army of, necromancers and meat wagons and some statues, right? If I get that army and he doesn't have AoE Dispel, I can just run him over. He's got some AoE and stuff. He doesn't have Shockwave, but he's got Stomp and Chain Lightning and stuff. I just think he just cannot fight me if I do that. The problem is this gold mine only has 50 gold. I wish there was, besides hovering over there, it'd be nice if there was some kind of like more clear visual aid for the lazy noobs, as it were. But to make it a little bit more of a sort of, hey, look, this thing is not gonna last much longer, right? But anyways though, yeah, I basically am able to get, I think I was able to get like 4 necromancers in one meat wagon. So that's pretty terrible. I should be careful. I web this. I just need to get one more hit on that. So it's like I definitely got to get this. I lose a fiend though. It's not. It's about the cost. He's got an expo, so it's like I do have burrow, so I use burrow. I actually didn't get too many attacker raids, which is pretty bad. Uh, they don't apply to the necromancers or the meat wagons, so it's like, but I didn't really have many of those anyway. So most of my army, and I did have an A bomb too, so it's like it was like it's a bit of a mix. So the efficiency would have been a little bit less than his. He's got more of a just more. He just has more units, and they all share that upgrades, right? So, but anyways, also the Wind Rider shares the upgrade. All the Wind Riders he's built, and they share the armor upgrade too, which is similar between like the if I get a worm or destroyer or a fiend or a guard, right? Those are all going to share those upgrades too. So, but yeah, I unsummoned. I was able to get 3 necromancers and a meat wagon, and I'm like, I don't want to expand. I know the resources actually right now to expand, so I'm like, oh geez, I don't even know what I'm doing here. This is goofy. I have 170 gold. Right, so I do bait out these wolves, but he kills one of them too, or one of the acolytes. So, um, but yeah, the Torn has a Helm of Valor plus 5 strength. The agility is less important. It might be better for him to drop that actually on the Shadow Hunter. Also, the Shadow Hunter is a little bit low. Sorry. But yeah, it might have been better to drop that on the Shadow Hunter because his strength situation is pretty, or not strength situation, but his hit point situation he's quite low. He's pretty important. I assume he's got heal wave, so he's sustained. and also the agility would give him an extra 5 damage. Right now, it adds 5 damage to the TC as well, and the TC is definitely going to be in the front line. So there's, um, I guess the fact just the tanking is really more. I mean, it's a level 4 hero too, so you'd rather lose the level 1 Shadow Hunter if anything than the level 4 TC. And he definitely, since he is out in the front lines, he's going to be eating a whole bunch of my nuke spells. But obviously, with 5 extra strength, he's going to be rolling with 125 extra hit points, along with just being a really sort of a strength hero. He's got he's got nearly 40. He's got 39 strength, over 1,000 hit points at level 4. So that's we engage this battle. I'm doing a poor job of like separating it. This meat wagon needs to be in the mix. Statue needs to be with everything, and I need to be absorbing the damage with the Crypt Lord. This battle again goes pretty poorly. I pull the Crypt Lord back too far. I do manage to draw him in my base, which is going to continually prove to be. I mean, it's obviously like a strength of undead to fight in their base. Any race to fight in their base generally is an advantage. There's blight, there's towers, there's production modes. I'm not really producing anything, so the production isn't important. But it's the towers and the slow. He's going to forget his Farseer. He doesn't have a TP either, or any kind of invul potion. So boom, that was huge. He just lost his 2 main heroes down. It says 1 and 4.8. I don't know why it says that, but on the overlay. But anyways, he manages to tavern back the TC, and I should probably go for the Shadow Hunter next. Killing the TC in that positioning is going to be nearly impossible. Plus, even at half health, he's actually has more. Well, even at half health, he had more health than the full hit point Shadow Hunter, which is like holy. That's pretty big. Also, he's got like 5.5 armor, only 4 armor on that Shadow Hunter. But it is much more experience boost if I do manage to kill a TC. Though I don't, so he just eats a bunch of damage. Here in a minute is going to be a really big problem for me. All these hero kills aside are keeping me sort of in the game. The fact that he fought me there, near the towers is going to keep me in the game. He is going to, and again, his sustain, he's out of man on the Shadow Hunter, and his TC is really low. If I can just chase him down, I want to sit here for the statue, but I have to chase him. I was, I wasn't exact. I knew this map has healing fountains and stuff, but like it's not always like immediate. Like okay, I can't afford to, and it should be right. It should be sort of, sort of instinctual and sort of what's the word? Like always, sort of concern in the back of your head on maps like this, especially if the fountain, if it's not nighttime or if the fountain is, or I'm sorry, if it is nighttime or if the fountain is cleared, either or both of the fountains, they can take advantage of it like this. Look at all this healing. This almost got him, despite those hero losses. This puts him right back in this expansion, right? If he has towers here, this game is going to be quite interesting, right? But if I chased him down before he gets all this healing, right? Even if I engage him right now, it'd probably be pretty good. I have 2 coils in the tank, approaching 3. I don't have Nova, and I only have 1 Impale. So honestly, the mana pool situation, now it's going to be a bit tricky, right? Because he's in the mana fountain, and all that range against these melee heroes. His army is at 68. He's got a 28 food advantage on me, right? I have to play this kiting game. There's nothing really more I can do. And also I have to deal with this expo. Not only do I have to like play the kiting game in terms of actually killing his units, but his gold income is running, and mine, 12,000. Mine's actually running too now, in fact. And if we mine out all these, he can't really afford to let me mine this out in him, because uh, if he mines this out and I have time to catch him, in terms of gold. So he has to also, but that's a long, that concern is not really, uh, what's the word? It's not really that urgent, right? There's a long time before this gets mined out. So in terms of economy, right, we're even, right? Obviously it'd be nice if he could just send 1 or 2 units like wolves up here and kill acolytes or whatever, which he is. At some point, we're basically going to trade expos, which actually favors him a little bit, oddly enough. Well, I should take that back. It, in some ways, it's not terrible for him, but in other ways, like, I have a little bit better ability. There was really bad positioning on my end. He didn't put all the damage on the destroyer, which is good. But yeah, when you're against undead with these heroes aren't quite power leveled, but they're starting to get sort of out of sort of getting obnoxious now. He has to get really close to engage with Stomp, right? And I haven't retrained to Unholy Aura yet, but I'm going to. Oh wait, did I? Oh yeah, I guess I did already. It's not. This just doesn't show on the overlay, right? But you can see by the animation here that I did retrain at this point. But anyways, when you have Nova Coil and Impale or Karen Swarm or Fork Lightning or whatever your third ability is on your third hero, if it's a sort of a medium to long range nuke spell, that's going to be a little bit better for you compared to the Orc, right? He can hit you with Chain Lightning from a decent range, but that damage is more of a spread damage thing. It doesn't come with like the slowing effect of Nova. It doesn't come with the stunning effect of Impale, right? So yeah, it's arguably not quite as strong. And then you have like Death Coil, which is a strong single target spell. And then he has Stomp, or possibly Shockwave. Stomp is going to be a much shorter range spell if he has Shockwave, but the problem is I really don't have that many ground units left. So earlier Shockwave would have been fine, right? It would have been, he anytime I try to dive in there with spells and play the hit and run game, he can play it a little bit better, right? Obviously, if you catch big stomps, you can sort of punish people if they're out of position, but it's if the players are keeping the positioning a little bit better. Now this is the problem in this scenario where he's got I need to the wolves here. I have to have the destroyers up there to deal with like just the wolf run bys. He's gonna send his whole army and he's gonna leave his Farseer back here. No, that's not his Farseer can't really. I mean, he can sort of distract me for a minute, but I could honestly ignore these and just go for the peons, which I can't TP up here, which is not so great. And he's just going up there, so I can't defend this. But he doesn't have. Does he have a TP? I don't know that he does. Does not have a TP, so he's trading his Expo for mine. Again, towers. He's gonna be in a better position if he gets some towers and I get some towers because the wolves are invisible, right? So towers alone, like even like 3 towers alone, 3 towers may be enough, but 2 towers generally isn't enough to stop the wolf harass. Or if he actually sends the Farseer as well, the acolytes are never inside the gold mine, so they're more exposed. Um, and the wolves they just do insane amounts of damage, right? They're normal damage, they have critical strike, just absolutely crazy. Oh, I left a statue behind. Ugh, that's gross. Um, but yeah, I got the one statue at least, so I'm not totally without sustain. He runs away. He doesn't want to fight me there. I've got the beetles. If he has a TP now, he TPs, cleans these up, and then he's back to having an expo. I mean, not having an expo, but he did lose all the peons there, and he's taking quite a lot of damage. He's like, okay, let me just get this is bad, and this is the thing with undead. You have to be careful. Really, again, any race with towers in their base, if everything else is reasonably close, this is actually he's still 20 foot ahead of me, right? But this sort of shows you the strength of an fighting inside of a base. I don't. What am I? I have the resource. Why did I not build? I thought I trained a worm. Oh my goodness! I know some point I get a worm. I have the supply now to do it. I need to do it. Oh, this is. He kills this before I build a worm. Like, oh my gosh, dude. That's gross. I can't remember if my worm even comes into play here. Jeez. Now I gotta unsummon stuff. I have one acolyte left somewhere. I don't know where he is. Is he in the back somewhere? Maybe I don't have an acolyte left. I feel like I do somewhere, but I don't see him. Okay, so anyways, though, we have this battle. No, maybe that doesn't matter. It's about to, like, I'm just going at his hero. He doesn't have a TP. He lands a wave. Um, I'm hitting the units too with a lot of the AoEs, right? But I'm just trying to, like, if that hero goes down, oh yeah, he does have a TP. Why did he not TP to his expo? Huh? That is it's a little surprising. That's pretty poor decision, I think. Because fighting me here gives me the best chance. Now, also, if he doesn't push me, I do just get a worm. So, does he have Hex? He does have Hex, but I do have Destroyers, right? So Hex doesn't completely counter. And yeah, he just can't. He can't fight me here, right? With the statue in a good position, this Narub, um, he's gonna destroy it. And he destroys it and he supply blocks me. Oh my gosh, did I ever get oh wow. Is there an acolyte? Oh there it is. He was like hiding over here. And then boom, I built a necropolis. Uh, this gives me the ability to build more acolytes, but I don't have a TP, so that's not important. And it costs a lot of gold. I have more lumber than gold, so that was probably a mistake. I probably just have to build a ziggurat, and then I don't have to unsummon as much. So that was an error. But if I do ever expand, I will have to build an necropolis, or I'll be mining incredibly slowly. So, so yeah, that was sort of the thought process. I come in here, Nova, Coil, and he's super low, right? He's got 180 gold. He could build a healing potion, or he could train. He got a higher, buy a healing potion, as it were, and be in decent shape. I'm really close to 5, right? One kill is gonna get me 5, basically, I think. And well, okay, not on a peon, not on 2 peons, in fact. Maybe this demo for sure will be it. No, wow, okay, I'm totally wrong. Gonna be. I forget. It's like level 5. It's really high level. So hit him with a level 3 Nova, level 3 Impale. Boom, boom. I pull back because he's just at the fountain, and I'm like, I've got, just pull back. I don't have an incentive to like go without my mana and everything. And then I'm like, well, let me just go back to his altar. Like, I don't have to sit here and fight him here. It's actually not terrible. Actually, you know what? It would have been a good idea just to run in there and fight him. But I was like, let me try to get this altar. If I get the altar kill and he's out of position, that's GG. If he can't get his TC back or whatever, and his Farseer back, and his Shadow, all the heroes are dead, right? But this is a lot to clean up, right? This is his whole army, and he can't TP them out, so they are stuck here, of course. So, in hindsight, that actually would be a pretty solid to clean up. And again, he's standing at the fountain, but I'll have melee heroes at the fountain too, so I can actually stand in there. He's at 37 food. I'm at 44. So I do have a food advantage now. But the biggest thing is the hero advantage, right? Having heroes versus not having heroes typically is not always, but nearly always gonna just be completely lopsided for the heroes, especially when they're like 5/5/4, right? So now it's even if his hero comes out, but he did get to heal that whole army up. So now this army is more formidable than it was before. It was damaged. I could have picking off the shaman would have been a big deal. I should have focused more on like sniping shaman. I got like a couple at certain points, but I never did completely get rid of. And the other thing is I guess in some sense I don't really care that he has bloodlust because it does give me targets to devour magic. I've got a necromancer here, but yeah, this actually makes the game a little bit interesting. There's people watching who are like, oh my goodness, we got a battle now. The TC does come out. He mass repairs enough to get the TC out. Maybe if I kill the peons, and then I don't know. Or I could have grabbed a sapper. That would have been sort of the hype, sort of funny highlight move. If I just get a sapper and it's like comes in like right. Actually, I don't even know if it would kill it right now. I forget the numbers are. Actually, it must do near 600 damage. Does it do 500 damage on unit buildings? Something I don't know, but it like nearly kills a ziggurat in one shot. So, and that's 600 armor. So, oof. Um, yeah, wow. I guess it does nearly 600 damage. So, yeah, that would have definitely got it. So, if it just comes in here and it like denies his TC at like 99% or something like that, oh my gosh. Or if it misses it, right? That's like the super hype. I would have if I spent all those resources. Though if I do still kill it, he still needs the altar to get his Farseer back, I think. So yeah, that would be pretty big still. But he doesn't have the resources. Maybe if he sells items. Yeah, he does get. Does he get his Farseer back? I feel like he does get his Farseer back. I don't know. I could probably turn around with the Crypt Lord and just drop an Impale. he doesn't have mana, but man, that thing is so tanky. I'm just like, let me. And he's got this demo back here. I luckily have a ghoul. Oh, I'm building a worm. That's what it was. I was like, oh, let me pull back. If I get this worm, I, oh my gosh, I don't want to let him kill the statue. Yeah, he doesn't have mana to stomp me, so I'm less like worried. Um, put damage on him. Once I drop that coil, I'm pretty much out of mana though. So it's like, but I have sustain and he doesn't, so that's a big thing. He's gonna sell these items, I assume, to get his Farseer back. And again, he's gonna get a good use. So the heal fountain, he was getting way more value out of these heal fountains than I did. So props to him for that. Shame on me for the sort of poor decision to let that occur. And I'm just gonna be throwing damage at him. He sells the what's it called? I don't even remember, the strength and agility one. Um, and then boom, I had that impale on his army instead of his TC. Uh, in terms of raw damage, was more helpful. And maybe it might have. I don't know if it saved the Crypt Lord, but that was, that stopped more of his DPS. Right, he can't really get close to me with a TC now. He does have a heal salve though, so I should just dive this. I am gonna kill it, right? I'm just gonna dive it right now. Now that the worm is in here, it's just like GG. Oh, that should be on the units or here. Worm shows up, and I still have a necromancer actually, so free skeletons for dark ritual. So yeah, that game. Whew. Oh yeah, now I can look at the resources lost to upkeep and see what's going on here. Yeah, to look at that net gold mine. So actually, a slight edge for me, about 90 or something gold. This is the difference here. Look, he actually mined out, uh, actually 3,000 more gold than me, but it went to upkeep, right? So the net was just about even, right? Holy moly, that was close. Tech percentage really close too. Lumber harvested, not close. He got like 8,000. Did he have a shredder? He harvested a ton of lumber more than me. That's kind of crazy. Did I get a shredder? No, I did get a shredder at some point, and then I used it to fight and got killed. But lumber wasn't at the end of the game. I don't think it was an issue for me. I just had a whole bunch of lumber. Unit kills really close. He got 99. The hero kills are going to be like completely lopsided. Yeah, 7 to none. Right? He never killed my heroes, and I killed his multiple times. And a lot of them were pretty high level hero kills. Buildings raised, I had a slight edge there. Units produced, again, a lot of those are wolves. So a lot of my unit kills were probably wolves as well. So that's sort of food for thought. Some of his were skeletons though too, so, and beetles. So maybe actually it was not really. That was sort of a push. Like I had summons, he had summons. We both killed them. So and there's a good chance I actually summoned more units than him because of beetles and skeletons and necromancers. So actually, this number is probably slightly misleading. And yeah, if you look at here, the largest army, 82 to 62. I lost a very small amount to upkeep considering we drained our mines and then I put up an expo. Right. So yeah, upkeep. There was a moment where like I realized I was in upkeep, and he was sort of, I don't know if he. I mean, I'm sure he could sort of realize it, but he didn't think it was an issue to like kill his own unit or something. Plus, he had like, I think he had like 9 food over, so he would have had to kill a lot more than me. I don't know if he wants to kill 9 peons if he had enough peons to pull that off, but maybe he could have. But then if he gets or he had an expo, so it's like I don't know if he had that many peons to do that, but you can kill some peons and then grab a shredder. Right, a 4 food shredder is worth, I think, 10 peons worth of lumber harvesting, so the efficiency is quite good for that. If you're gonna do that, but it does cost a chunk of gold, right? But again, it doesn't cost 3,000 gold, right? So, but again, that is going to depend on how this number is a function of how long you're in upkeep, obviously. So, so yeah, if you don't know, right, that you're going to be maybe mining out of 2 bases on upkeep, right, for a certain amount of time to get to these these larger numbers where it's significant, right, then the timings where it's like, well, I don't want to dump, all this gold and all this lumber into this shredder, and then kill the peons. It's like, if I kill a whole bunch of peons to get the shredder, it's like the immediate jump in your lumber income is kind of it doesn't seem like that important, right? But the important thing is avoiding the gold loss to upkeep, because you see this basically is this is like a whole other army essentially. You can build so much and get so many items with this. Like if he just grabs heal scrolls and gets another, it pushes up to like, I don't know, he sits at 80 food and he just gets like 3/3. He gets, just stacked, invul potions, heal scrolls, maybe an armor, probably not an armor scroll, but it's destroyers, but parry apps, whatever, loads up on parry apps. That TC would just never really, if he gets one or two parry apps, like he was already a tank. Getting those would just make him like, almost unkillable. And then he gets to he gets really close and he gets to level 6 for his ultimate. Well, then if I kill him, it doesn't even matter because he reincarnates. And then can I kill him twice? There's almost no way that I'm gonna be able to kill him twice without killing the rest of his army, right? So, and then he comes back not only with full health, so if he has a ton of health, that's crazy. But he comes back with full mana too. So yeah, he comes back and he's just a beast, and I can't let that happen. So that was the thought process to focusing him frequently. Also, obviously, he's in the front, so if I'm kiting around like a base and stuff, and there's like one Darub, and he's obviously going to be right, most likely he's going to be the one out there in the front lines, because he also wants to land his stomps. Not only is he just a melee hero, but he's got a really short, if you pick stomp, he's got a really short, sort of short range spell where he can actually do damage with it. So yeah, I thought this game was really fun actually. Ooh man, I was getting worried. Because when I engaged him, I didn't expect him to like he like had all his army already bloodlusted. So like when we have an engagement fight, I was out of position just a little bit, and his hero levels were actually higher than me. He was like 5/4. I was like 3/3/2 or something. Like level 3 stomp, level 3 wolves, level 2 chain lightning, and then he gets that shadow hunter. I have to be very, very careful engaging him. And then purge, if he hits purge, I think, oh my gosh, I'm not sure. I feel like he might actually be, I don't know. For a long time, I didn't think you could purge. I think like spell immunity and stuff was like immunity from purge, but I think I saw something where it said you can actually purge like magic immune stuff. But I don't know. I need to test that because it sounds really goofy. Like I should just know that, right? From Orc's perspective or from playing against Orc's perspective. Um, but yeah, and I know like the orb can purge like destroyers. Like I've seen that a whole bunch of times. But like the shaman's ability, can he actually manually purge like a destroyer? I think he actually can. So he could have been using that almost like ensnare, um, and not having to build. Well, he already had a bestiary, so I mean, he would have done well to have like one or two raiders roaming around with him, right? Just anytime I was like, even if I was even out of position or even not out of position, but if he just runs and lets, the battle goes on, and then he has ensnare, like at certain points, you can be in position and then you can start losing a battle. And then if you have to run, then if you get something locked down, you can't run, right? So some people call it catch or like sort of crowd control or something like that, but or whatever, some kind of lockdown ability, locking down something and just instantly killing it. In the case of a destroyer, most likely, or a statue, is actually huge value, right? Obviously, if you can do the same with a hero, way bigger value, but also generally way harder. Because I can, if I'm smart, I'm not gonna get caught in that situation without a TP, maybe an invul potion, right? But if I have an invul potion, it can still purge me. That's also very relevant. You can't ensnare somebody that's if you ensnare something and they use an invul potion, ensnare's still going to be there, but you can't target a hero that has an invul potion. Um, I think the ensnare's still there. I want to say it is, but yeah, you can't manually ensnare a hero that has the invul potion up. But if you could, like I say, if purge allows you to still do that, oof, invul potion is not a saving, not exactly the same saving sort of saving move savior as it is then than if the invul potion, was just complete immunity. Right. So anyways though, that's gonna be the end of this audio. Man, that was a real back and forth game. Again, he made some massive errors, right? Losing the Farseer in my base. Losing the TC is one thing, but losing the TC and then Farseer, I feel like that happened like one after the other. but yeah, being in an undead base without a TP, really being anywhere against like decently leveled undead heroes without a TP is a, or even any race. I shouldn't just say undead. Like if I do the same against him, and he has like one raider or he lands a couple of purges, a hex, a stomp. I mean, GG. So even with healing and stuff, right? You saw all that DPS he had and the DPS I had from nuke spells and stuff. I think it was a massive, a very foolish move for me to try to get cute with the necromancers, right? Trying to think if banshees. I mean, obviously banshees don't require corpses, and anti magic shell is actually pretty good. So, um, just put anti magic shell and everything. The shaman damage and the stomp and the chain lightning is going to be uh, absorbed by anti magic shell. So potentially is pretty good. Cursing stuff. If he doesn't have spirit walkers, probably also would have been useful. He has a lot of headhunter. I guess they're glass cannons. I mean, cursing the headhunters probably is pretty decent. Cursing the TC, pretty. Oh my gosh, that TC was rocking like at the end of the game. Let me fast forward. He had like, I think he had a big claws and that big strength agility item. I'm just gonna fast forward and see how much damage he had with those three items. I want to say it was like plus 15 or something. Well, no, it's gotta be more than that, right? Plus 17, 18. I feel like, I don't know. We'll just zoom through this replay. Um. So yeah, that's yeah, and then not punishing him at the heal fountains not once but twice. He got so much healing at those fountains. Holy moly. Didn't really like that. So okay, so he's got the items now. I can just look wherever his hero is. Plus 19. Yeah, oof, 19, nearly 20 damage extra on those swings. It's a monster. My Lich actually was rocking only an orb. I didn't really get any big did he get he just got most did he creep the middle as well? Man, I feel like he got the big camps only. That's like really, oh no, I got this one. He got the other one. So he got two of the three reds, I think, is what happened. Um yeah, that plus 9 clause I think is only at the reds, if I recall. And then the whatever that uh Helm of Valor um, is a red item too. So some red camps I feel like don't. I forgot there was some goofy map where there was a Booty Bay. Marcus was showing a game on Booty Bay, just not to actually play it, but he was like testing something. But anyways, there was like a rock golem camp that just dropped like some like super low tier item, or I say rock, it was a granite golem if I recall correctly. So it's like, what, granite golem? There's some maps that just do that. It's kind of goofy. But anyways, yeah, we can like end this game now because it's we've already seen it in its entirety. So yeah, that's gonna be the ins and outs of this. Again, I don't. As far as I actually went Impale first, and the idea is if he comes into harassing, he's a little bit too aggressive, and I've got enough ghouls and some skeletons, I can pop that Impale. I can sort of surprise him, right? Like you almost. And it's probably a good reason, right? But you almost never see people go Impale and like in that like a lot of people are just going beetles and for creepy and stuff. They're just not going to just pick Impale and go for those rounds. So we can sort of have that in your back pocket, and then they get a little bit aggressive and they get out of position, then boom, Impale, and you surround their hero. Well, now they got a sort of a really tough choice with the Farseer, right? The Farseer doesn't take very much damage to kill, so he can't really stand in there and like, oh, I'll stand in here and I'll break myself out, right? If you get surrounded with Farseer, typically you're gonna just have to TP or lose it, right? And you could choose to just lose this level 1, right? But it is going to buy me some time. It's going to, give me a bunch of experience and cost you quite, it's only 170 at level 1. But not only that, but also you can hit the wolves and the headhunters frequently as you're doing this, right? Now, if you're going first round, obviously you want to be sure that you land the impale on the hero, because if you don't, then obviously it's way harder to surround, right? But you also can sort of get, in terms of them sort of counter surrounding, right? If you landed on the headhunters and the wolves, it's harder for them to sort of pull off some kind of counter surround and the positioning and everything as well. Plus, it does a bunch of damage. So if you just want to, if you don't think you can surround them, you can just wait. Especially, I used to do this with a fiend build, which a lot of people are saying, Crippler with fiends is goofy, and I think this is what I chose to do with the fiend specifically. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go this, and if I have two fiends and he's got these wolves and he's got these headhunters, right? Two or three fiends. I can throw the impale down, hit the headhunters, probably hit the wolves, maybe hit his hero, connect with multiple targets, and then if I do that once or twice, right, his units are going to be quite damaged, right? Plus, when they're stunned, it's obviously easier just to focus them down. So kiting and stuff is way harder, right? So that's the idea, right? To sort of, weaken his harass, and then he either has to run or he has to start losing units or sending all of his units back. So his DPS is going to be sort of, controlled. If he doesn't have a salve, a healing salve, or clarity potions, or both, he's going to get into trouble. Also, the Farseer doesn't have a lot of hit points either, so he starts to run into problems with his health at certain points. And then he backs up, and you have, still have Rod Necromancy, and then you can just go creep. Rod Necromancy, a couple of fiends, that hero, good creep speed, right? It's, pretty much as fast as a DK, I would say, unless you're throwing coils at the camp, in which case, you're using a lot of mana, and I'm not, right? So, um, and then as soon as I get level 2, I can get beetles, right? So then the creep speed is going to ramp up considerably more than the DKs does typically. Now you will have aura, so getting between the camps is going to be slower, but you're going to be quite efficient eating absorbing damage with the summons at that point, not just the skeletons but also the beetles. But again, that's pretty obvious as you go crippler. A lot of people will just go beetles from the start because there's no tier 1 dispel for orc. Just like basically every race but elf, there's no tier 1 dispel. I guess I take that back. On maps with mercenary camps, you can buy troll shadow priest, which or troll priest or whatever, which will give you abolish magic, but it's not AoE dispel, so it's not as big of a problem for a crypt lord because you get 2 summons. It's kind of like the Farseer, you pop out 2 summons. So yeah, abolish magicking on each wolf is a pretty big deal, but and also beetles only cost 50 mana instead of 75, and you can get 6 of them out at a time instead of just 2. So they do have that edge over wolves, but like versus like a water elemental or like a lava spawn or some of these other summons, right? They're not a single one; they're split into multiple. And in the case of beetles, your potential ceiling there is split into six beetles, right? So if it's not AOE dispel like detonate or disenchant or priest dispel, it's not going to totally shut you down just to have one troll priest, right? Or even like one shaman, 1 or 2 shaman. So in that case, honestly, it might make more sense to prioritize level 2 beetles, right? I think a lot of people probably do that, maybe. But I sort of like the initiation and the nuking capability against all those headhunters, right? With impale. A lot of times I go lich second. I chose to go DK second in this game, which I don't know. I think it doesn't mesh as well with my playstyle. Like imagine I have a level, I'm 3/3 Crippler Lich, right? With that, I'm going to be that is a more aggressive play style. It's more nuking. Obviously, I skipped Unholy Aura anyway, so I missed out on that for a long time. Um, but it turns out the way the game played out, I think I would have actually liked to just go with my regular sort of Lich second, which sounds really weird. A lot of DK third. But especially if his heroes get sort of power leveled, and then he gets like a Shadow Hunter third, and he maybe gets a couple of decent items for damage or health buffs, right? Like +5 strings, for example. Like invul potions, whatever. Then it's sort of a little bit better to have that AoE to just hit those units with it, right? Because it's just more raw damage. The benefit of Death Coil, besides being able to heal your stuff, so versatility, which again did come in handy at certain points. I don't say that it won't. But yeah, I can literally just sit there, and also the Lich can replenish his mana much more quickly with Dark Ritual than the Death Knight can. So, in terms of churning through nuke spells, it's a little bit more efficient with the Lich, I would say. Um, so yeah, I think I could have just landed big Novas and Impales, and I think that would have maybe been a little bit better. Obviously, it's great to be able to snipe down the heroes, though, and with a Farseer first. I mean, it's really tempting, but level 2 and 3 Nova hits pretty hard on the single target as well. I think at level 3, I could look it up, I guess. Let's see. I feel like it hits for like 200 damage at level 3, but we will soon see on the original target. So it does target damage 100. Oh, it's 250. Okay, so target damage is 100, Nova damage 50, 100, 150. So yeah, I think what happens is, if I recall correctly, this is probably important to know the specifics, but I'm pretty sure the Nova damage and the individual targeted unit or hero damage, I think the Nova damage applies even to the unit that you target, right? So I think, like I said, I think you do 150 damage at level 1, and then I think at level 2 you're going to do 200, and at level 3 you're going to do 250, right? So at level 2 you're actually doing the same amount of damage as Death Coil, and at level 1 are you actually doing more damage than Death Coil? It one-shots Wisp at level 1. I think one shot. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know it one shots Wisp level 1. So how much health the Wisp have at level 1? 120, I think. Yeah, 120. So yeah, okay. So yeah, the Nova damage and the target damage both apply, because if it only did the target damage, it wouldn't be over 120. So yeah, boom. So yeah, like I say, at level 1 it actually hits harder as a nuke spell than Death Coil. At level 2 it's even, and at level 3, Death Coil's, I say to the single target it is more. Obviously, when you add in extra targets, it's going to easily surpass Death Coil, and it's a playstyle that I sort of like. Again, it's always great to be able to heal your stuff, right? But I think if you're trying to play the hit and run stuff, I don't know, you're going to see people that will swear that you just have to have a DK, and I don't really agree with that, but it really sort of just depends, right? Different items and different sort of abilities are going to mitigate the damage differently, right? If you have like big heal potions and invul potions and stuff and single target healing, then obviously you're going to fight back a little bit better against the single targeting stuff. And also, I guess on the flip side, Death Coil heals twice as much as it does damage, right? So if you're using it as a heal spell, you're mitigating, like if they have single target stuff, your heals are going to be, your Death Coils are going to be mitigating a lot of that damage if you're healing with them, right? So in that sense, you can keep up a single target better than they can damage it, probably. Like if you compare the Nova damage to the Death Coil healing on a single target, it's not even close, right? At every level, it's going to be way less, right? So, 150 is less than 200, 100 is, 200 is half of 400, and then 250 is way less than 600. So it's a little bit less than half, right? So yeah, it's sort of a balancing thing. But the thing is, though, the raw damage of Nova in the middle of a bunch of Headhunters and Berserkers, along with level like 2, 3 Impale, and then maybe a third AoE hero, because that's what I've played some games where it's really fun. If you can power level 3 heroes, like at a certain point, it doesn't, if they don't have just mass heal potions mass heal scrolls and like high level heal wave and stuff, right? Um, at a certain point, you can just knock down all their headhunters just with spells. You don't even really have to engage. I mean, you don't have to really engage in a fight. You can just hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. And you sort of saw it this game. I had that Death Coil high level instead of the Nova. Right, the Lich was third, but it's a different play style. He didn't really do what I wanted him to do in terms of focusing the Death Knight or really focusing the Crypt Lord, right? If he does that more, those Death Coils are going to be sort of bigger, right? Because the hero armor is really good, and then the healing. But like The problem is also, especially if he gets a bigger army, it's like I don't want to be just sitting there healing, right? I have to be doing more damage to him, or it doesn't make sense for me to be there, right? Or unless that's the case when the economies are even and like a whole bunch of stuff is even, right? Which again, this game, not even, but he was for a lot of the game, he was actually his army was larger and stronger than mine. For a standing battle, he would just beat me, right? Mine was sort of burst in range was my advantage. Not even move speed with Bloodlust and Endurance Order. His move speed was going to be better than mine almost, no matter what. So um, even if I dispel the move speed, Endurance Order at level 2 and 3 slightly out buffs the move speed from compared to Unholy Order, which again I think is dumb, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this audio. Again, would it have been better with the Lich? I do think I would have probably focused more on units with the Lich, so it would have been a little bit different sort of way. But then again, there's health fountains on this map, so I was like, you know, killing the heroes is huge, right? But like I pointed out, Nova actually at level 1 actually does more single target damage than Death Coil does. Right, level 1 Death Coil does not one shot a wisp. It comes close, like one hit, one attack, one auto attack from a DK, and then attacking it. Yeah, it gets you there. You basically have to do 20 damage, and then you can one shot it with Death Coil. Um, so so yeah, that's But if you just have one Nova, where it's gonna one shot a single wisp, and then once you hit 2, even the AOE portion will also one shot. It'll one shot all the other wisps that are in the range. Um, so yeah, pretty legit being able to land 100. Actually, take that back. That's incorrect. Um, yeah, it's got to do 120. So yeah, you have to do 20 damage to the wisp and then boom, it'll one shot them. So a lot of AOE spells do at level 2 one shot them, but the Nova is sort of it's a bit of a hybrid. It does like a lot. It does extra to the targeted, um, to the targeted, to the target, the actual target that's manually clicked on, and you have to manually click on something with Nova. It's not an AOE spell that you can just throw wherever you want. So yeah, positioning stuff is a little bit different with that spell, but again, it's pretty subtle difference there. But it also has a little bit lower AOE damage, but it has a little bit higher single target, 200 single target damage. Most AoE spells are not going to hit for 200 on the single target, so that it sort of meshes well with the undead playstyle, which is pretty cool. I like the difference, and it sort of adds a little bit of variety and stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. And I think that's probably one reason why undead sort of, besides the orb and the fiends and everything and death coil, blah blah, it probably pushes the uh, most common play style for undead is to sort of take advantage of that single target burst, right? For better or for worse, right? Um, a lot of people are like, oh, that's annoying and da da da. But it's like it's just what the race is. It's undead, right? So it's like, oh, it's death. It's sort of whatever. So it's pretty interesting. I say interesting. It's I think it makes sense thematically, I guess, or whatever. Um, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, that's going off on some weird stuff. It doesn't really matter. I guess so. Hopefully you found this a entertaining game and informative audio and everything else. If you didn't, say, oh, it's all these mistakes and everything. Oh, don't worry. I've heard there was like 4 or 5 people watching this game, and I had people telling me stuff about the game after the game. So and even during the game, we actually were both in the same voice chat. So. Uh, that's it's a very weird situation, and in terms of like absolute fair balance or whatever, like people were making comments from, they try not to make like too many comments about stuff that was happening to give it away, right? But yeah, they were definitely like, oh, you should have been healing that, or oh man, it looks like this player looks like the undead's in trouble, or oh no, the hero, or da da da. They're making all kinds of comments about the game, so it's like you don't really hear that in if you're just playing a ladder without any kind of voice chat or whatever. But it's pretty cool. It can be nerve wracking, right? If a lot of people are talking and stuff. I'm sort of notoriously bad about like multitasking when there's like a multiple people talking, and especially if it's like not even about the game. Like I'll get like as much as I try, and you can just deafen yourself on Discord or whatever if you want to, but um, so I didn't have to sort of subject myself to that if I don't want to, um, but yeah, it's like it very quickly, if like it's a topic I'm sort of curious about or just whatever. Like it's kind of like the cell phone effect. Like they say, if your cell phone is just out open, sort of on your desk, or on a table or something, or within eyesight, right? It probably doesn't even have to be there. It's just if it's like nearby, it probably sort of takes some of your attention, right? So when a game that requires it's a real time game, your attention is pretty important, right? It's if you have like half your attention like on something on your desk or something like that, or like listening to somebody talking about whatever, it definitely is a distraction. And again, it's for me, it is a huge distraction. It can definitely be. So for other people maybe they're better at it. I don't know, but yeah, and again, like I said, you could just I didn't have to, you don't have to subject yourself to that any reasons like you don't want to, um, but yeah, it's just sort of the social element. It's like custom games, like it's just for fun. But yeah. So, anyways, that's gonna be the end of this audio. Big booty beatdown over. Undead scrape spot with a win. Some strong nuke spells. I'm sure that's sure that has definitely happened hundreds of thousands of times before. So nothing really new in that sense. But anyways, ScryMind signing out.